So I wasn't sure how to do this. I was planning on doing a comic to sort of explain my thoughts about the TV show. I really can't be fucked to do that because I'm up to my eyeballs in stress. I've got shit that needs to be done. So fuck it, I'll just make a quick little audio, probably for the RTK channel, because Tarosan, without going into details, needs some content for the channel. So I figured, fuck it, I'll just do I'll do an audio thing, and if he wants to put game footage to this, then fantastic. I'm gonna try and keep this down to about 10 minutes. If you can hear a weird noise in the background, my computer is just a complete whore. It likes to scream and say, I'm doing something, even though it shouldn't be, but... Sonic Boom. I won't talk about the game because I don't fucking care about the game. I don't have a Wii U, and considering how things are, I won't be having one anytime soon, and I can't be asked to get the 3DS version. Some people say it's good, some people say it's bad. Just don't care. Still have to get through a copy of Kid Icarus Uprising a good pal of mine gave me, which I'll be doing at some point. And there's a new Pokemon game, so yay. So let's just talk about, now we've eliminated the games, because people saying, it's worse, it's just like 06, or just as worse as 06, or whatever. Like, fuck off, okay? Like, Sonic 06 was just bad. And the all-time worst Sonic game is Sonic Labyrinth for the Game Gear, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Just fuck off. If I had to describe the cartoon, I mean, let's just put a disclaimer or a lid on top of this whole thing before I start. I like the cartoon. That's just the short version. I like the cartoon. So if you feel like I'm going to start this off in a very negative way, just know the underlining theme, he likes the cartoon. It's good. Alright then. If I had to sum up the cartoon in 2 words, it'd probably be low budget. Because I feel like with a cartoon like this, I mean, the whole premise is to introduce Sonic to a brand new audience of kids. Not teens or adults, but kids. Because that's kind of has that mindset in mind. And, you know, I'm fine with that. You know, I've got the mainstream Sonic series. I'm cool. It's like this whole argument with the Ninja Turtles. Like, people don't like the new cartoon show. People don't like the new Nickelodeon show. It's fucking insane. I mean, people don't like the Michael Bay movie. And the argument I always go for is, well, that's fine, but kids will love it. I have my Ninja Turtles, which is the 80s cartoon in the video games. I'll go and watch and play those. But I just so happen to like the Nickelodeon cartoon. Again, we're getting off the point. Just want to throw some context out there, because I'm all about context. But with this cartoon, I feel like it could be more. It's using the format shows like Dexter's Lab, Powerpuff Girls, how, you know, like 2 little mini episodes glued into one thing. But you sort of notice when the show starts, like, it has a really half-assed intro. Like, I could cook up a better intro using MS Paint and Windows Movie Maker. That's how bad that intro is. It's too short. It kind of sets up the theme. There's no catchy theme song. And it's just boring. And the title reveal for each little episode, it's just like a quick still image. Little text, no fanfare, no music. It's just like a quick little half-assed, like, whatever kind of thing. I mean, with Dexter's Lab, you had like a single image, yeah. But you had like title music to sort of sell you into the show. But here it's like a still frame from one of the episodes or something. And no music, just boring white text for about a couple of seconds, and that's it. You feel like more could be there. You feel like it's missing something. You feel like it could be more. Now, this is nitpicking, I will grant you this, but I just wanted to offer my thoughts. I thought the intro was boring, and the title cards are bland. When just a little bit of fanfare, like even like if you just threw in the extra life music from Sonic 3, it would just liven it up a little bit, get you excited, you know? But besides that, the shows. I get that they're going for a more comedy-themed show. And that's fine. And they're doing these like silly little plots, which are fun. But what kind of bugs me is the games. are supposed to be prequels for the show. And seeing, like, LPs of the games and the reviews, there's all this stuff about, like, thousands of years ago, the Ancient Ones, lyric, and all this other stuff, and none of that really has any context or bearing on the show. I mean, so how do you go from ancient civilizations, psychopathic, genocidal snakes wanting to eradicate all life on Earth, to can an evil genius crash on your couch for a few weeks? I mean, it's kind of like going from 2000 AD to the Beano, in terms of scope, if you will forgive my limey references there. I mean, that's to say that the show's funny. I mean, yeah, I've laughed a bunch of times. My favorite episode being, can an evil genius crash on your couch for a few weeks? But, I don't know, it's just like, I don't think it works with 11-minute episodes. I mean, the only times it's really worked, the Can an Evil Genius one, that worked. The Amy interior direct decorating thing, which I thought was a brilliant idea, that worked just fine. The two episodes I felt that really needed to be stretched into a 20-minute story is the pilot episode, which was the sidekick, and the episode where Styx learns how to be a lady. Those two stories should have been longer. Because when you're telling a story like that, you can't sum that up in 10 minutes. Like, the idea of, you know, Tails is hurt, Sonic feels responsible, and to be fair, that's a brilliant angle, because it sets up this idea that Sonic actually cares, even though in this show, he acts like the biggest douchebag on the planet, which has always kind of been his character. I'll get to characters in a minute, I want to just set the scene, shall we say. And it was just like the idea of him going through applicants, that part felt rushed. Like, you felt like that could have gone on for an extra 5 minutes. And it was just like one quick trial test which never concluded. You never got a conclusion to that. And it just, it should have been longer is the main thing. That has always been my chief complaint with this cartoon. It's too short. It could be longer. 11 minutes doesn't work with a character like Sonic the Hedgehog. Dexter's Lab, it works fine. Looney Tunes, it works fine if they went on for 11 minutes. Tom and Jerry, it works just fine. Powerpuff Girls, yeah. I mean, even though I don't like Powerpuff Girls, it worked just fine with that time frame. But something like Sonic the Hedgehog, or dare say Mega Man or Mario, if they're going to come out with a new cartoon anytime soon, well, probably not Mega Man, but you can't tell those stories in 11 minutes. I mean, but like I said, episodes like Can an Evil Genius Crash on Your Couch and the Amy becoming Lawrence Llewellyn Bowen, if you'll forgive my English reference, that worked fine. Some episodes should not be split in two. Some episodes should be one long thing. And that's just the thing with storytelling, because the stories they're trying to tell, they could be longer. Again, I know this is nitpicking, but this is just how I felt. Some episodes are better than others, and some of them just aren't that good. I think the only ones I don't like, as a whole, is just the pilot episode. Because I felt it could have been longer. A story like that, you cannot sum it up in that short amount of time. But I think my favourite episodes are probably the Translate This, Can an Evil Genius Crash on Your Couch for a few weeks, and I like the idea of, again, Amy on, Changing Lives. No, not Changing Lives, what's that show called? What's it called? It's basically like a decorating show. I'm so out of touch with television. I have not watched television properly in about 5 years, so I'll watch it occasionally, but not continuously. Characters, let's just get into that. So we have 5 main characters from the good guys, and you have 3 main baddies, if you will. Sonic in this show is kind of a douchebag. I don't understand or get the whole hipster Sonic that Black Nerd Comedy has been suggesting with it. I don't quite get it. So wearing a scarf makes you a hipster now? Not quite sure how that works. So in that case, Link from Hyrule Warriors is a hipster if we're going to go with that logic, but let's not split hairs, and before anyone asks, no, I don't hate Black Nerd Comedy. I'm indifferent. I think the guy's kind of funny. I like his Ninja Turtle videos. But no, I don't hate Black Nerd Comedy. I just think that remark was stupid. Don't read too much into that remark. I kind of feel like Sonic is the only one who doesn't want to be in this show. Like, the way he behaves, his body language, it's like, you kind of feel like the character is saying, I don't want to be here. You know, he feels like a disgruntled, like, out of work, out of shape, 80s action star, forced to do kids shows he doesn't want to do. That's the vibe I get. Tails, I don't see any difference between him and his Sega Sonic counterpart. They're basically the same character. All they've really done is given him some goggles and a belt full of tools, and that's fine. I mean, I get the idea that Tails is an inventor, so they gave him like welding goggles, a little belt and everything, that's fine. But wouldn't all that shit get in the way when he's like fighting crime? Fighting crime's probably the wrong way of phrasing it, but you know what I mean. Knuckles, I actually, to be honest, like now that I see it in motion and everything, I like the new design for Knuckles. I think it's good. The only like criticism I have is like I don't like the idea of Knuckles having fingers, but that's just a side thing. And my computer's having a hissy fit. Well, it can fucking deal with it. Knuckles is one of those characters where I feel like they just made him the idiot. Because it's kind of strange with Knuckles, because, you know, if you know the history, he used to be like this guardian of the Master Emerald, and he was like this, he was kind of like wise and cryptic. He was gullible, yeah. But then again, if you live by yourself all that time, you probably would be gullible. I like how we go from, like, he's the last guardian, and, you know, he's important, to basically becoming a dumbass. That's just nice elevation or devolution, if you will. He does have some pretty good moments, like in the, I think it's called My First Dixie. I mean, that is my favourite episode with Knuckles. We discover that he can play the piano, he can't read apparently, he makes friends with snobs, and he does a pretty good impression of them too. So yeah, I love what they're doing with Knuckles. I do miss the days of, you know, Guardian of the Master Emerald, and I wish Sega would go back to that. But I guess like they need an excuse to have him in the show or in the games, because, you know, I guess with Knuckles, it's like they couldn't think of enough reasons to say, oh, he can't guard the Emerald right now because of, but they just said, fuck it, he's no longer doing that, he's now one of Sonic's buddies. I get that, but it's like, whatever. Amy, I feel, is a vast improvement. I mean, I love what they've done with her character. I mean, she's an actual character now. I mean, I've seen people complain about Amy, saying she's boring, she's so whiny, why is she all smart, women aren't smart, blah, 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 all this other stupid shit, and you wonder why Fajita Sarkeesian is still around. You don't. Well, that's a discussion for another day, but let's leave it with that. And the argument I always go to is when I see people complaining about Amy, saying, why is she being all smart, why is she talking about, like, proper etiquette and shit, I always say, would you rather have the alternative of her? I mean, I usually sum up Amy's character in the games with one sentence, and that sentence is always, I hope Sonic-Uu Senpai notices me. That is Amy Rose in a nutshell. And it's why I've always despised the character. She's just a one-note character. Like, oh, I will put myself in harm's way so Sonic will marry me. Fuck off. I'd rather have this one. At least this one isn't obsessed with that yet. Because they have shown hints that Amy does love Sonic and vice versa, but it's not been the driving focus of her character. There is a character now. Which brings us to Styx. Now, those who follow my comic series Winter Bubble will know that it's very lukewarm about Styx's introduction. So they did like a little video about her, like introducing the character, her voice actress and everything, and they're very enthusiastic, saying she's going to be the best thing about the show. And I need to explain the rant I gave before we go into this. The reason why I gave that rant, which some people took out of context, and story of my life, the reason I had that reaction was because I've kind of been burned by Sega before. They've introduced these brand new characters. Like, they introduced them like in a still image or like a brief appearance in a trailer, and they tell you this is going to be the best thing ever. This is going to be the thing that changes the series. Oh, well, they changed the series, but not for the best. And it's kind of like the old saying, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. And I've been burned by Sega so many times with all the shadows and creams and Babylon rogues and all this other stupid shit that I wasn't sure how to approach Styx the Wild Badger thing. And then I think, aren't badgers supposed to be like black and white? Yeah, I realize saying that this is a universe that has blue hedgehogs, so maybe that's a moot point. Now, having seen Styx in action, do I think, you know, she's an abomination, and do I join the fucking retarded Sonic fans who whine because it's not 16-bit? No. Styx is not a bad character. But in that same regard, she's not really a decent character either. Now, she's okay, is what I'm getting at. I've seen worse. I mean, after Chris Thorndike and Cosmo, Princess Elise, and all these other terrible characters, she's about a few hundred miles above them. Make of that remark what you will. The whole, like, Alex Jones paranoid personality thing, that is really unneeded. I don't like that aspect. The voice, it kind of sounds like a cross between Dulcie from Sonic Satam and a little bit of Dexter from Dexter's Lab, which I grant you, I think it's the same voice actress. I'm not sure. No, it was somebody else. Dexter was voiced by Bunny. Yeah. Sorry, I'm going off my weird little tangents again. That's what it kind of sounds like. My Fair Stixie is kind of the one I like because they kind of do something with her. She has a few funny lines, and I like her general attitude. Buster was kind of a dumb episode, really, because you kind of saw the plot or the ending coming from a mile away. She's not the worst Sonic character in the world. I do grant you, like, this is the only time we're going to see this character. She's not going to transition into the games. She's going to be in this show, which, based off the performance of the games, this show is going to have like one season and that will be it. I've got a feeling that, unfortunately, Sega are going to drop this thing like a fucking rock and say, well, let it ride through the season and that will be it. Even though this show is actually the best thing about this Sonic Boom spin-off thing. Robotnik is easily the best character in the show. It's just, I love... That's why I say Ken and Evil Genius Crashing Your Couch Review is the best episode, because it's like Robotnik is the most interesting character. And it's like, it makes me wonder, like, why doesn't Sega make a whole spin-off based off Dr. Eggman, Robotnik, whatever at this point. Julian, if you prefer, but I would watch a whole, or play a Robotnik spin-off. That's just brilliant. The things he comes out with, the bizarre... I mean, there's almost like... He's very effeminate and very ladylike at some points. Like in the game, he's all like, titties, and this other, like, very flamboyant thing. And it's kind of like, they know Robotnik is a joke. Like, you should not take this character seriously. But going off of that, it does make me wonder, like, when characters from that game are going to show up. Because we've seen in, like, if you've seen the ending to Sonic Boom, the game, spoiler alert, he has Lyric's, like, chest device thing on it, mounted on his wrist. And I'm wondering, does that mean Lyric's going to come back? And we saw in that ending that Metal Sonic reactivates, so is Metal Sonic going to be in this show? And I guess the obvious question, is Shadow the Hedgehog going to be in Sonic Boom, the TV series? Because if either Metal Sonic and Shadow are not, or Lyric for that matter, are not going to be in the TV show, what was the fucking point of introducing them or adding them to this universe? Is the obvious question. And Shadow, I don't know what it is with Shadow. I grant you, like, the character is poorly written and rushed as fuck. And he didn't really have much of a character. I mean, like, you know, an evil ultimate life form born of alien splooge and vengeful grandfathers. I mean, that's kind of retarded in itself. But in this character, this universe, should we say, it does feel like he's channeling Miles Edgeworth through Vegeta. Talk about how weak people are and justice and everything. I was thinking, like, well, slow down there, Edgeworth. But yeah, it would be nice if Shadow did appear in the show. Maybe, like, he takes an anger management course, or he has, like, social issues or something. That's why he's like, you know, your friends are weak, and you're weak because you have friends. And then secretly he's all alone. He's like, I wish I had friends. And he gets like a therapist and everything, and the therapist just happens to be Robotnik or Amy. That would be an amazing episode, like Shadow on the therapy couch and Amy is interviewing him, and he's all like, it all started with my father. He was an evil alien tyrant. He wanted to blow up the earth. He had black arms. And X-Play called him racist. Yeah, that was a stupid episode as well. Cubot and Orbot, they're fine. I still say they're a poor man's Deco and Boko, and who in itself are a poor man's scratch and grounder. Let's just be honest with ourselves here. But yeah, that's about it. I haven't seen the newest episode, which should be airing today. I recorded this on a Saturday. But I'm not sure what else to cover. I like it. It's well animated. It does feel like a bunch of like Sonic 3D Sonic game cutscenes glued into a cartoon, which is fine. I've always argued that they shouldn't really make Sonic games and just do CG cartoons and movies, because the CG part and the voice acting now, if any, is the one bit Sonic games nail, because the CG cutscenes are fantastic. So rather than just make a game that you can't program for shit and rush it out the door because you need a game out every year, why not just make a cartoon? And they did, and the cartoon is fantastic. Short, should not be 2 episodes glued into one thing. It should be 20-minute episodes each weekend, but I'm willing to let that slide. That is my chief nitpick. It's not a complaint. I don't have any complaints, apart from it's too short each episode, and that intro is boring as shit. And my computer is making noises, and I want it to shut up. It sounds like a kettle when it's boiled. Yeah. So that was my thoughts on Sonic Boom. I'm sorry if I didn't go into more depth, and I wanted this to be a comic, but like I said, I can't. I'm fucking tired, and I'm up to my eyeballs with bullshit. So this is going to be it for Random. I might do another one of these for some other subject. I haven't decided, and I hope this is what you needed, Tarosan. Laters.